My client Leon lost 63 pounds, built real muscle, and took back control of his life all in just 6 months, training only twice a week.
When I very first started, my waistline was 43 inches. And for my waistline to be 35 inches at this time is just crazy. And I did this all within 7 months.
He followed my minimalist training system built for busy men over 40, and today at 49 years old, he looks and feels better than he has in decades. In this video, Leon's gonna share exactly how he did it and the lessons that helped him break through years of frustration to finally transform his body. So Leon, can you quickly introduce yourself? Like, how old are you? Where are you from? What do you do?
All right, my name is Leon Ellis Stevens. I am from a town called Thomasville, Georgia. At nighttime, I'm a caregiver,
Okay.
and during the day, I work for a hospital as an endoscopy assistant at this particular time.
And so before working with me, before joining Polarity Fitness, what did your life look like externally? Like what could other people see?
They saw what I didn't see and ignored it because they thought that was actually me when it wasn't. I worked as an administrative assistant. In the process of me working as that, I ended up putting on a lot of weight because I did a lot of sitting. I did a lot of answering calls, a glorified secretary, basically at the end of the day, filing, all that kind of stuff like that. But I didn't pay attention to myself when it came to my conditioning. I wasn't going to the gym at that particular time. I just actually went to work and came just straight home and ate whatever I ate. I ate several times throughout the day, and it didn't matter what I ate. I just ate. Because I was always hungry all the time because of just the lack of not doing anything to help myself at that particular time. Like I say, the weight started coming on. I started feeling achy. I started not feeling like myself. I know my blood pressure probably was through the roof. I was scared to go get it checked because I already know what they would have told me. So, but yeah, yeah, they saw something that they thought was normal and average, which I know better. So,
And what was going on from an internal standpoint in terms of like your personal and emotional experience with life at that point?
I was pretty depressed. I was pretty depressed. I was stressed all the time. Have a lot of family issues that I'm trying to work out with my kids and within between with my wife as well, and just a culmination of that and several other things. It put me on a time bomb, really, and I was actually heading down the wrong path. And if I would have kept on the path that I was going, especially at my particular time and when it comes to my age, I probably not would not probably be the same person you're talking to at this particular time, Rio. So.
And what sort of things had you tried before starting to work with me?
I tried the keto route. I did the carb counting. Um, I did the paleo, those type of things like that. I even did fasting. I tried to go past 24 hours. That just wasn't happening. But I did do the fasting. I did the OMAD and all that, all that kind of thing like that. So I have done several. So
Okay. And when you first saw my program, what sort of concerns or doubts did you have?
just being able to work out two to three times a week and not have to do super heavy cardio like what was always prescribed from top trainers in the world and things like that, and all this super hit and eating 6 and 7 times a day type meals and things. And you went against the grain, and it piqued my interest. And as busy as I was, I knew that I couldn't dedicate working out 6 to 7 days a week, push, pull, push every single day like that, and eat as much as they was talking because of the kind of work I was doing. But I saw myself dedicating at least 2 times a week and really going in there hard and handling my business and really picking up my steps when it comes to my job. And I felt that like that's something I could do. So it piqued my interest. And so I did more research on what you was talking about. And I did more research when it comes, I'm brainy. I don't look like I'm brainy, but I read the boring stuff. So I went deep into the scientific stuff and went through universities to confirm the stuff that you were talking about, and everything was confirmed through all of the tests of people that they put through. So you actually were right on top of your game. So I said, you know what? So I might as well give them a shot. And the end result was I'm at 214 now. Sometimes I'm at 215. sometime 216. It's just because of the water, you know what I'm saying? But once the water subsides down, I go right back down to 214. But at one time, I was stuck at 241 when I was first talking, when we got introduced to one another, when we actually had our first consultation. And you was telling me, you said, Leon, you said, I was telling you I was eating like, what, 2,100 calories or something like that. You was like, Leon, that's not right.
Mhm.
You said you should be closer to 2,800 calories. I said, are you sure you're tracking right? You know, things like that. And I said, well, I thought I was. He said,
Mhm.
most likely you're not. And I like that honesty.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, a man like me, I can take that because I'm used to people being honest, and because I'm an honest person myself. And so it piqued my you piqued my interest, and and I kept at it, and I kept refining how to track my food, and I learned that I'm not a breakfast eater. So that was my biggest, I think that's one of my biggest contributes, because I believed in the pre and post eating. That was my downfall. And that's bodybuilding talk. And I found out I'm not a bodybuilder. All I want to do is just stay in good condition and have a lot of strength and mobility and endurance. So once I let that mentality of the mindset go, that's when everything that when it comes to your programs, and and the way you talk about the nutrition started to actually creep in, and it became life for me. So
Mm. And what was it that really made you want to move forward with working with me, despite some of these concerns or doubts that you had about the approach that I teach?
because you're living in the present, you're not living in the past. A lot of people look at the golden era of bodybuilders. They keep forgetting that those people was on enhancements.
Mm.
We live in a world now where the goal is to live and live comfortably to the point that you're not hurting and pulling things that don't need to be pulled. There's too much in the world that we need to be focused on, instead of trying to be the biggest, baddest person in the world with all the muscle in the world. My biggest goal for myself is to be lean, but very proportionate and very strong, and be able to have the endurance to move quickly and pick up anything that I need to pick up and keep on living my life.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
and it just everything you said resonated. Even though you're young, but you're mighty wise in your years. You've done your research. You've proven your own self. You put your own self through your own workouts to show that they do work, and you do have other people besides me, way before me, that's also been having the same type of results, or even better than me. So you're a proven product of your own product.
I appreciate that, man. Just to pause the video for a second, if you're a man over 40 who's tired of spinning your wheels just like Leon was, and you want a simple, proven system to finally strip off fat, build real muscle, and feel like yourself again, I've linked a short video in my description that explains exactly how my coaching works and how it's helping guys over 40 transform with just 2 strategic workouts per week. Watch that video, and if it resonates, book a free call with me. You mentioned a couple things that sort of stood out to you, right, when you first stumbled upon me, but like what was that main thing that sort of stood out about my approach compared to everything else you've seen or tried in the past?
When I followed other workouts or other programs, I would normally be in the gym for an hour and a half to 2 hours, sometimes 2 hours and a half,
Mhm.
because of how many sets and reps, and then the breaks, that all the breaks in between that you had to have, more than 4 minutes at a time, and things like that. And it would take a good portion of my day away. Your look at things, the way that you structured everything, you're in there, but you're within that hour. Your structure of the workouts, you're not doing 6 and 8 sets of this and that. You're more of the 2 to 3 set type of individual, and you give yourself a short break enough. The warm-ups were even to the point where they were even playing enough that you stayed still within that hour, and you still got fantastic jobs. I know I got fantastic results from everything that I did. Like I've told you in the past, Rio, I bench over 350 when it comes to my benching. But even with my shoulder issue, the way that I have a little bit of a shoulder, like like I've told you, even with that, the way your approach, and then you break down the form to the T. You give us all the cues that we need. You don't have to do the three up and one down and things. Just stay consistent. That's the biggest thing you talked about. And
Mhm.
so even with me benching and have that shoulder issue, I don't have to do as many sets. I do just enough sets to get what I need done and continue on moving on with my day. It doesn't take away from my day. It fits uh, without an issue, without a problem within my time throughout the week. If I can't get twice a week, so what? That second workout that I could have did on that first week, I'll do it on the second week and start with it and
Mm.
continue on. You got to set up to the point that you got to set up to the point you can't fail. If you do the program the way you're talking about and going with the right intensity, you can't help but get the results.
And when you first got started with the program, like what was your experience like at that point? Like, did you find everything like really easy to follow or?
Yes, I did. For a 49-year, well, I was 48 at that time, but I'm 49 now. So for an older gentleman like myself, who is still very active and very and passionate about doing, standing, working on getting on great condition, everything that you did was it was easy for me to get involved in because I knew because my mindset was already set on it. So I just needed a plan that was laid out and it wasn't a guessing game. It was in my face. I didn't have to try to tweak it or anything like that. It was perfect enough for me, and it should be perfect enough for anybody else who's wanting to get in the gym, stay within an hour, and go home to
Mm.
their family or go to work, whatever you need to do.
And can you expand upon, how the 2 day per week training was a game changer for you?
Oh, it was a game changer for me because it was specific, and it was you have several versions, and the versions I love is the full body versions, twice a week. You start off with an upper body week, and then you end with a lower body week starting off, but it's still full body. I love the structure. If I had a problem with if I felt like I was worn down and torn from a particular exercise, you had another alternative exercise that was similar to the one that you originally had that you still getting good work. You just changed up the exercise and you kept going. And that's how you got your structure set up. And that was amazing to me. I was like, man, that's what I'm talking about. You know, so if I couldn't do squats that day, I would do the goblet squat. If I couldn't do the goblet squat, I do the leg press. You see what I'm saying? You already have all this stuff in alignment, so I don't have to guess on anything. You know, so I mean, you can't fail if you do the program and don't make any excuses. You'll get the results. I'm
Mhm.
living proof of it. Normally, I put up a post of myself pretty much almost every Friday. I may not do it every Friday, but a lot of Fridays I'll put up a post of myself just to show my results. When I very first started, my waistline was 43 inches. And for my waistline to be 35 inches at this time is just crazy. And I did this all within 7 months. The results came from you, from your programs and our consultations. We didn't have a great deal, but we had enough that sparked the interest for me to do my research when it comes to me. And that's what you have to do. You have to do your research even on yourself. You just got to have a light, and you are the light, if that makes sense.
Mm, totally, totally. And what specific parts of the program or working with me made the biggest difference for you?
Um, the time. The biggest thing was the time. Being able to work that hard and still be within a time of 35 to 45 minutes in and out from the warm-ups to the actual end of the workouts
Mm.
was just the time. And it felt like I worked out and not played around. The compound movements that you put together, it just was great, amazing, fantastic for me, and it works very well even to this day. I wouldn't even be 214 pounds if it wasn't for this. And like I say, your no nonsense nutrition is another game changer. Even though you promote a lot of the putting on the muscle and things like that, a lot of people don't realize you also help people to lose the fat. But that's why you're putting out the videos you're putting out, because you got to have the balance. It doesn't make sense to be all big and bulky if you don't have the leanness with it. So the biggest thing I'm working on myself is the leanness, and I'll do a little bit of the bulking just to stay within a certain look. But one of the biggest things to me is that, when it comes to the fat burning, your nutrition is top notch. I mean, you're a game changer, man. Your programs are game changer.
Appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. You mentioned it a little bit already, but I wanna talk a little bit more about the specific results that you got. Like, how much weight did you lose in total, and what other physical changes did you see?
I was 277 pounds for over almost 16 years. Um, And I kept this weight on for, well, I got even bigger in the before 7 months ago, but 277 pounds, and I'm now 214 pounds at this particular time. Besides my waistline, I've went from size 2 and 3X in shirts to now down to extra large and more larges than I've ever worn in my entire life. um, my hips have went down from I think it was 40, 47, 48 down to 43. So none of my pants fit me no more. None of them. Even my scrubs. I messed around and got some 2X scrubs. They look like a dress on me, and that's not cool for a man like me. You know? So my shoulders went from 55 inches down to 51 inches when it comes to my shoulders. My bicep stays the same. I'm still 18 inches in my arms. So so yeah, still 18 inches. Yeah, I know, right? So I'm 5'11". I feel and I'm starting to look more like an athlete, like I've always dreamed of being. I'm not an athlete to go in the Olympics and things like that, but I'm an athlete to me, and I look good in my clothes, and I look even better without anything on for the first time in years, in over almost 16 years, man. So I got to give you your props, man. You're on your game, and you're a game changer, and I can't wait for anything that you come up with because I know it's going to take everything to the next level when it comes to the fitness industry.
So what does life look like externally now? Like how do people see you differently?
They look at me crazy because they can't believe it, especially people that hadn't really seen me. I don't care if it's been a year from now or maybe 6 months from now. They look at me like, Leon, is that you? I'm like, yeah, it's me. What happened to you? Are you sick? I said, no, it's nothing wrong with me. I took control of my life. He said, what did you do? I said, well, I stay consistent. I've gotten with a young man named Rio. He has a program called Polarity Fitness, and his programs are a game changer. He said, what did you do? I said, I just trained and stayed consistent and kept myself accountable. Those three things. That's it. I did nothing out of the ordinary that no one else can't do. They can do. Um, so I got them to your website. I don't know if they did it or not, but they all look the same. So what is that? I feel like I am finally taking control of my life. Um, like I spoke to you previously about the reason I took this job at the hospitals is because I put something on the back burner that I should have gotten when I was a younger man, but that's neither here or say. At this particular time, I've always wanted to be a PhD, which is a doctor in surgery. So my this next year coming up, I am going to start my journey. I have now the confidence in myself that I believe without a doubt, and I know without a doubt I'm going to accomplish my goal because if I can do this internally first, I had to first do it mentally. Anybody can try to work out all they want, but if until it hits the mind and you're ready to really change, you're not going to change. But when it finally hits you mentally, you start to see the results from something that you just thought was a dream now become a reality. What else out there that you've always had in your heart that you truly want to do? So, and what I truly want to do was become a doctor. So I'm at 50 years old, which will be next year. I am going to start working on my dream of being a doctor, and it's all thanks to the mental capacity, you giving me the idea, and I took it to the next level mentally, and physically the results came. And it all started with Rio at Polarity Fitness.
You make me shed a tear, man.
Hey
Holy
man, hey,
fuck.
I'm giving you flowers now because when you blow up, you're gonna blow up. So-
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Holy shit. So has this transformation like impacted your relationships, your confidence, how you show up at work?
Oh yeah, man. I walk with my chin above my collarbone. I walk my shoulders back and down like they're supposed to, and I got my swagger back. Yes, I do. Yeah, I don't walk fast anymore. I take my time. Yes, sir. And my wife, of course, she's not going to say she doesn't love it, but I know she loves it. Yeah, and you know what I mean. So she she loves
Yeah, yeah.
it.
So Leon, what would you say to another man, perhaps in his 40s or 50s, who was stuck like you were before you embarked on this transformation? What would you tell that man who's in that position where he's struggling and he's sort of losing hope?
I would tell him to start to believe, do your research. I would bring your program to mind. But before I would tell him, I would tell him it's time to change your mindset. Get off of the negative things and start thinking positive. The more positive you start to believe in yourself, the more things are going to change. Then I would bring your program to them and I would explain how you changed my life. And I would show them the progress that came from your particular stuff, that the programs that I have been doing for almost 7 months now. And what I bring to them doesn't start to change them. It's going to take time. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen, because it has to change in the mind first, and the body will follow. So uh, that type of deal like that, and just be honest with them. I say anything is possible as long as you put your right foot in front of your left and believe anything is possible.
At this point, when you've achieved the goal that you set out to achieve, do you feel like this is something that you'll be able to sustain long term?
Oh yes. Oh yes, definitely. I still have more work to go, Rio. Once I'm like I said, I'm at 214. So my baseline was 215. So I'm 1 pound below that. Um, my next goal was going to be 205, but for the look I want, I'm gonna have to get down to 195 and then grow with the bulking program back up to 210. But that's over time thing. But for now, the goal is to get down to 195 instead of 205. So because the reason why is because I have a certain look I want. And in order for me to get that certain look, I have to be consistent at what I want to do when it comes to the physicalness of what the look I need for right now. So I got a lot of work still to do. So, but I'm on the right track. You got me on the right track, and I'm gonna continue to do what I got to do, and I'm gonna continuously promote your business. Your programs are top notch, man.
If Leon's story hit home for you and you're over 40 and struggling to get in shape, this is exactly what I help guys like you do every single day. I've linked a short video below that walks you through the full system, how it works, who it's for, and what to expect. If it resonates, book a free call with me. No pressure, just a real conversation to see where you're at and what needs to change. This could be the turning point, just like it was for Leon.